Do you get into unnecessary bickering or even arguing with your loved one, even though you really don't want that and you want to react less and be more loving in that situation, but you don't really know how? This is why I made this video. I want to help you to create a more loving relationship, especially with those people who are close to you, who you want to be loving with, but because you're reacting in certain situations, because they do or don't do something that you don't like. Hey, I am Carolina Cummins. I'm an old soul, a spiritual guide, and a self-love mentor, and I'm here to help you with returning home to your natural state of being so that you can be the best version of yourself and living from your true self. So I want to share a little scenario with you that I went through a few weeks ago to highlight what's actually happening when you get annoyed or irritated or, just slightly off with your partner. And what happened was four of us went out to a dance event. I love dancing tango. And there was a couple and another female friend and myself. And after the event, we had a really nice time. And when the event drew to an end, the driver wanted to leave a bit early to avoid the queuing in the cloakroom, getting our coats and so on. So we agreed that we would have one more round of dancing and then we would go just a little early. And actually at the end, we ended up staying until the very end. And we all went to the cloakroom except for one of the friends who got caught up in talking to some other friends. So I went to get her and said, "Hey, David, the driver, wants to go." And she said, "Oh yes, okay, I'm coming." And then I went back and we were waiting for her. We were all ready. And when she finally arrived in the cloakroom, she said, "Oh, you're stressing me out, you're stressing me out." And at that time, or at that point, the girlfriend, David's girlfriend, said that, "Hey, you are making everybody stressed out." And I looked around and I interrupted. I said, "No, he didn't. He was very calm. He didn't say anything." And he was very grateful about that because even though he didn't get his way or his wish to leave early, he didn't say anything. And I wanted to praise that. So I want to really explain what happened, what might have happened here in Susan, David's girlfriend, that she was coming from a thought. This is the very first insight that you really need to recognize when you feel slightly triggered or when you're acting in a reactive way. Ask yourself, how come I am reacting? Why am I reacting? What's behind that? What do I make this mean? And you might have to really tune in and go deep inside and find out what thought was behind your reacting. It is vitally important because if you don't do that, you never really become aware of your behavior. You keep on going around in circles and you will do the same behavior again and again. So I am inviting you here now to write out, even about an event that happened maybe last week or whatever. Write out, sit down and do some journaling. Why did I react like that? What was I thinking? And maybe you go the other way. You ask yourself, what was I feeling and why was I feeling that? So in her case, maybe she was thinking, oh, men always get their way. They always, maybe they are always overpowering, or, they always get their way, something like that. That is just something I'm assuming. And that belief that she's holding on to will come from the past. It's not just created in that moment. It's always something from the past, from the childhood experience. So the event is actually showing her what is still unresolved in her and what is inviting her to look at. Her reaction is a guideline. now that she maybe now has the belief that is really the cause of her reacting, she's now already 50% more empowered. Because now she can recognize when it happens again, oh, there's that belief again that's activated in me. And it might take 3 to 5 times to really nip this behavior in the bud. So it will take a little while to turn this habit around. Instead of reacting, not reacting. And this is the very important second step. Once you know that you're reacting because of a belief that's in you, nobody else's fault or nobody else to blame, it was not caused by someone else. So it is in you, and therefore it's for you to deal with. Nobody else can help you with that. And we all have to act in the same way. We all have those things. Any emotional reaction is always coming from the ego mind, from the ego self, that needs something from the other person. Sometimes it needs another person to behave differently, or sometimes it wants something from another person. Your true self, the inner peace, would never react. It's at peace and it's always in love. So therefore you can be for sure that it's the ego self that is reacting here, because there is an unresolved need in you. Sometimes it needs to be healed. Maybe it's caused by a trauma, and if it's not healed yet, that it really needs to be healed. And if you have already worked with it and you are aware of it, you just keep forgetting, then it is enough to acknowledge it and to realize it comes from the past and that it comes from your ego self. It's not your true self. And therefore, you can just notice that and become aware of that. Oh, I was acting or reacting from my ego self. And that's enough, because you're not your ego self. Because your ego self is only based on emotions and thoughts. It's made up of that. It's not true and eternal like your true self. And therefore, when you're coming from a thought or an emotion, who you're not, you can just decide to not entertain that anymore, to not focus on it anymore. And in time, it will grow less. That's also a way of disidentifying with your ego. So really, every time you react to somebody, you have an opportunity to disidentify with your ego mind, which is really a gift in itself. Okay, so now you know step 1, or the first thing you really need to remember when you are showing any kind of reactive behavior. Own your thought and know that only you can deal with it, and use that opportunity to disengage with your ego mind. And then there is the second insight that is also very empowering. But I want to tell you first that I want to invite you to share any emotional situation or challenge that you might have in the comments, if you like, and give me sort of the outline so I have a mental picture of what might happen there. And then I will make a video about it. I pick out some of your sharings and I'll make a video about it. And so I can help you a bit more, because I don't know what you're going through, and I really want to create a connection here with you so I can really help you. And if this was helpful, please give me your thumbs up and share and like the video so more people will get to see it. Okay, so the second insight is about how could Susan, David's girlfriend, react in a different way next time, because this is always very important. Once you've gone through a reactive behavior, think about it. How do you want to do it better next time? Otherwise, you're not learning, right? This is very important. So if Susan had known or remembered that it's no good blaming anybody else, look outside of herself for the reason why she got angry or maybe irritated, she knows now, she remembers, it's inside me. There was something in me that caused this trigger, and I'm going to look for it. So if she comes into this situation knowing, and she can stop herself from saying anything and then stay still instead, because only now she's only observing. There's nothing to say because she can see through the situation. That would be the second very empowering step that you can do that will change your life. It will change all relationships that you have with other people, and it will change also the relationship with yourself, because you're from now on going to empower yourself and love yourself a lot more by doing that small little step. That's why I keep talking about it and highlighting this this situation, this scenario, the opportunity that life keeps giving us. So if we react to the ego trigger, then we are misleading ourselves and we basically lose our path. We sort of fall off the path into the ditches, into the emotional realm where we feel upset or angry or whatever else emotion that might come up. And if we want to stay on the path, if we want to stay empowered, we would learn to just observe, stay still, and be, don't do anything. Because we now know that nobody is to blame. This is only an exercise of remembering who we truly are, and it's an exercise of observing and disidentifying with your ego self. So it's all good, all is well, it's all good, and everything is as it should be, as always. Only you can make yourself happy. Nobody needs to do that for you, which is part of the second insight. It's a big learning, and it takes a while. It's a process, obviously, because all the while you might have always looked outside, you always wanted to blame somebody or, make someone else responsible. So now you have the learning that you need to empower yourself. It kind of keeps coming up again and again and again, and it will get easier. And if you keep on doing it, if you really want to learn and you are dedicated to empowering yourself, and then you feel emotionally free, you feel more resilient, you are flexible and adaptable in any situation, and it doesn't matter anymore what is happening to you. You're not going to take things so personal and so important. And that is an immense freedom that will come from there. So I hope this video helped you. Please let me know. I love to hear from you. And if you have any scenarios you'd like to share, if you've got any questions, I also love to hear from you so I can make more content that is aligned with what you need. Until next time, bye for now.